Rome ruled the world for 4 centuries, then it fell. Caesar's word never died. It became Kaiser, then Tsar. Then it crossed an ocean and got carved into the walls of the United States Congress. Rome fell in 476 AD, but the people who destroyed it immediately started trying to become it. The Western Roman Empire doesn't collapse in a single moment. It gets picked apart, tribe by tribe, province by province, over decades. The Visigoths take Spain, the Vandals take North Africa, the Franks take Gaul. Each one fights Rome, defeats Rome, carves off a piece of Rome. And then they start calling themselves Roman. Not informally, officially, legally. They mint coins with Roman titles. They wear Roman imperial dress. They adopt Roman administrative structures, write in Latin, build in Roman style. A king who'd spent his life fighting Rome is now performing it. The easy explanation is admiration. Rome was magnificent. Its roads, its law, its architecture. Of course, conquerors would want to inherit its prestige. That explanation feels right. It's also wrong. These rulers didn't need inspiration. They'd already won. They had the armies, the land, the resources. What they didn't have was legitimacy. And without Rome, there was no such thing. Medieval political theorists had a name for it: translatio imperii, the transfer of rule. The theory held that there's only one empire in the world at any given moment, not one of the most powerful. One, singular. When Rome fell, the empire didn't disappear, it transferred. The ruler who could claim that transfer didn't just have military power, they had cosmic authority. Every bishop, every judge, every tax collector in Europe answered to whoever held that claim. Without it, you were a very successful bandit. The Byzantines understood this immediately. They never called themselves the Eastern Roman Empire. That's a name historians invented. They called themselves Rome. Full stop. Citizens used the word Romaioi, Romans, until the very last day the city stood. The same titles, the same institutions, the same legal structures, just a different millennium. Constantinople was their Rome, and they had no intention of letting anyone forget it. Then a Frankish king named Charlemagne accumulates enough power to control most of Europe. He doesn't need a title, he has everything: the land, the armies, the treasury. And yet on Christmas Day, 800 CE, he travels to Rome and kneels before the Pope. The Pope places a crown on his head and declares him Emperor of the Romans. The word Romans fills the cathedral. This is the moment everyone assumes is about prestige, about Charlemagne wanting to feel special. It wasn't. It was a legal transaction. Without that title, every bishop in Charlemagne's kingdom operated under the authority of the Byzantine Emperor, a rival thousands of miles away. With it, the church in the West answered to Charlemagne. The architecture was the costume, the title was the claim. What followed lasted 844 years. Voltaire eventually wrote that it was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. He was right on all 3 counts. It was still Roman, officially, on the day Napoleon abolished it. Every time someone became Tsar, they were saying Caesar. Every time a Holy Roman Emperor was crowned, they were saying Caesar. The word didn't translate, it transferred. 15 centuries, dozens of rulers, one word, but that still doesn't answer the real question. Why Rome? Why not Greece? Why not Persia? Greece produced more philosophy. Persia built a larger empire earlier. Both are remembered. Neither became the template. Rome did 3 things simultaneously that no one else had managed. First, scale with memory. Rome had ruled over the ancestors of almost everyone in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Its reach wasn't just geographic, it was generational. By the time Rome fell, its name had been embedded in people's identities for over 400 years. You couldn't claim universal rule without claiming Rome, because Rome was universal rule. It wasn't a place anymore, it was a concept. Second, the Church. The Catholic Church was Roman in name, in law, in language. Every Mass spoken in Latin. Every bishop operating under Roman legal structures. A ruler who wanted the Church's blessing needed Roman credentials. And any ruler who wanted to hold power in medieval Europe needed the Church. Those 2 facts together made Rome impossible to avoid. Third, Law. Roman law was the most sophisticated legal system the ancient world had produced. Precise, portable, universal. It could be applied in any territory, in any language, across any culture. Claiming Rome didn't just give you a title, it gave you a legal operating system that every jurist in Europe already knew how to run. May 29, 1453. Mehmed II is 21 years old. He's just taken Constantinople after a 53-day siege. The city was the last standing piece of the Eastern Roman Empire. The Byzantine Emperor died defending its walls. Mehmed rides into the Hagia Sophia, the greatest Christian cathedral in the world, and converts it to a mosque. And then, within hours of the conquest, he declares himself Kaiser-i Rum, Caesar of Rome. A 21-year-old Muslim sultan, conqueror of the last Christian Roman city, claiming to be Caesar. Western Europe didn't reject the claim because it was absurd. They rejected it because they wanted it. Mehmed went further than the title. He brought Greek scholars to his court. He commissioned his portrait in the Venetian style. He studied Greek philosophy and ordered translations of Roman histories. He wasn't performing Romanness for show. He was building the infrastructure of Roman legitimacy from the inside. Napoleon runs the same calculation in 1804. He's already rewritten the legal codes, reorganized the military, and defeated every coalition sent against him. He's the most powerful man in Europe. He doesn't need the Pope. And yet, he has the Pope travel from Rome to Paris to crown him emperor, not in a private ceremony, in Notre Dame, in full view of every ambassador in Europe. Charlemagne went to Rome for his crown in 800. Napoleon reversed the direction in 1804. Both needed the same thing. He names his newborn son King of Rome. He adopts the Roman eagle standard for his armies. He wears the laurel wreath. A Russian monk had already put it plainly in 1510, writing to the Tsar, "Two Romes have fallen, the third stands, and a fourth there will not be." He wasn't predicting the future. He was describing the rules. Rome was the only game, and it hadn't finished being played. Mussolini calls it the Third Rome, after Augustan Rome, after Papal Rome, his Rome, fascist, imperial, Mediterranean. He builds highways through the heart of ancient Roman ruins, deliberately exposing them, not restoring, exposing. The ruins are the argument. He claims the Mediterranean as Mare Nostrum, our sea, Rome's sea, now Italy's. His political symbol is the fasces, a bundle of rods bound around an axe, a Roman magistrate's tool pressed back into service 2,000 years later. Hitler frames the Nazi state as the Third Reich. The First Reich, the Holy Roman Empire. The Second, the German Empire. He is the third in the Roman line. The rally grounds at Nuremberg are built to Roman scale, columns, Roman proportions, the eagle on every surface. By 1945, the pattern has run for nearly 1,500 years. It crosses the Atlantic. The American founders had read Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. They knew exactly how a republic becomes an empire. They designed the Senate to prevent tyranny. They created checks on executive power. They built a republic specifically engineered to resist what Rome became. And then they named it the Senate. They built the Capitol on a hill, the name taken directly from the Capitoline Hill in Rome. They put the eagle on everything. They wrote their founding documents in Latin mottos, E pluribus unum, annuit coeptis, novus ordo seclorum. The fasces, Mussolini's symbol, Rome's tool, is carved into the marble walls of the House of Representatives chamber today, on both sides of the speaker's podium. The founders weren't careless. They were fluent in Roman history. They put it there deliberately. When you want to project permanent, legitimate authority, there's only one vocabulary. There's only ever been one vocabulary. Rome didn't give the world an empire. It gave the world the idea of what an empire is supposed to look like. And nobody, in 15 centuries, has managed to invent a new one. The fasces are still in the US Congress. The Roman eagle is still on the dollar. The word Caesar is still in the Russian president's title. So, did Rome actually fall? Or did it just change its costume?